The dark story of John Wayne Gacy. Imagine living next door to a friendly man. A man who entertains children as a clown. A man who smiles, jokes, and hosts neighborhood parties. But beneath that smiling face was one of the most horrifying killers in American history. His name was John Wayne Gacy. Between the 1970s, he murdered more than 30 young men and boys, hiding their bodies under his own house. For years, no one suspected the quiet contractor living in Chicago. But when police finally uncovered the truth, the discovery shocked the entire nation. Today we explore the terrifying story of John Wayne Gacy, his childhood, his crimes, the investigation, and how one of America's most notorious serial killers was finally caught. Birth and early life. John Wayne Gacy was born on March 17, 1942, in Chicago. He grew up in a working-class family. His father, John Stanley Gacy, was known to be extremely strict and abusive. Many reports say that his father frequently beat him and constantly called him weak. This difficult childhood deeply affected Gacy's psychology. He struggled with low self-esteem and spent much of his youth trying to prove himself. As a child, he also suffered from health problems, including a serious head injury. Some psychologists later believed this injury may have influenced his behavior later in life. Early personality and hidden darkness. To outsiders, Gacy seemed like a friendly and hard-working man. He later moved to Des Plaines, where he ran a successful construction business. He was active in politics and community events. But behind this normal life, he had dark impulses. Gacy also performed as a clown at children's parties, using the character Pogo the Clown. This strange contrast between a cheerful clown and a brutal killer made his story even more disturbing. The beginning of the murders. Gacy's first known murder occurred in 1972. His victims were mostly young men or teenage boys. He usually targeted vulnerable individuals such as runaways, job seekers, hitchhikers. He would approach them with offers of work or money. Then he would bring them to his house. The method of killing. Once inside his home, Gacy used manipulation and deception. One of his common tricks was the handcuff trick. He would pretend to show the victims a magic trick using handcuffs. Once they were restrained, the victims could no longer escape. After that, he would torture them. Most of the victims were killed by strangulation using a rope or cloth, sometimes called a garrote. This brutal method made the crime slow and terrifying. Where the bodies were hidden. Perhaps the most horrifying detail of Gacy's crimes was what he did with the bodies. He buried most of his victims under the crawl space of his own house. For years, the bodies remained hidden beneath the floor. Neighbors had no idea that a mass grave existed beneath the home. Eventually, the space filled with bodies. After that, Gacy began dumping some victims into the Des Plaines River. How the secret began to unfold. The case finally began to unravel in 1978. A teenage boy named Robert Pius disappeared. After telling his mother he was going to meet a contractor about a job. That contractor was John Wayne Gacy. Police started investigating. At first, Gacy appeared calm and cooperative. But investigators soon noticed suspicious details. The investigation. Detectives from Chicago Police Department placed Gacy under surveillance. During the investigation, they noticed a strange smell coming from his house. They also found that several missing young men had connections to Gacy. Police obtained a search warrant. What they discovered would become one of the most shocking crime scenes in American history: the horrifying discovery. When investigators searched the crawl space under his house, they made a horrifying discovery: human remains. More bodies were found, and then more. Eventually, police uncovered 29 bodies buried beneath the house. The discovery shocked the entire United States. News spread quickly, and the house became a symbol of horror. Arrest of John Wayne Gacy. On December 21, 1978, police finally arrested John Wayne Gacy. At first, he denied everything, but after hours of interrogation, he eventually confessed. He admitted to killing more than 30 victims. Investigators later confirmed 33 murders, making him one of the deadliest serial killers in American history. The confession. During interrogation, Gacy explained many of his crimes in disturbing detail. He described how he lured victims, restrained them, and buried them under his house. Psychologists who interviewed him found his personality extremely complex. Sometimes he blamed society. Sometimes he claimed the murders were accidents. But the evidence against him was overwhelming. The court trial. The trial of John Wayne Gacy began in 1980. His defense team tried to argue that he was legally insane. However, prosecutors presented strong forensic evidence. Witness, testimony, and physical evidence linked him directly to the crimes. After weeks of testimony, the jury reached a verdict. Gacy was found guilty of 33 counts of murder. The final sentence. The court sentenced him to death. After spending years on death row, Gacy was executed in 1994. His crimes remain one of the most disturbing chapters in American criminal history. Final reflection. The story of John Wayne Gacy reminds us that sometimes evil can hide behind a normal face. A neighbor, a businessman, even a clown. But thanks to determined investigators, the truth eventually came to light. If you found this story disturbing but important to understand, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more deep dive crime stories and investigations. Comment below and tell us, do you think the warning signs in this case could have been noticed earlier? And which famous criminal case should we cover next? Stay curious and stay aware.